I started here, I didn't know anything about mold making, didn't know anything about injection molding, but I had employees, co-workers who knew exactly that, and they taught me everything I know pretty much.
I've always been in manufacturing. My first lab gig ever was in plating.
It's a good entry-level job to start with little schooling, and then you can work your way up all the way to the top.
Conversations are completely different. You don't go into it with this show up and throw up mentality. What you're trying to do is solve a problem of theirs. You're looking to find out the pain points and figure out what is it exactly that you can touch on to build that trust, like we talked about last week, and to establish that you have a solution for it. You're going through the effort of talking to people. You're going through the effort of trying to build your pipeline and all that stuff. And then what are you doing with all that data? You're putting it into a central system like CRM, and then it can help all your salespeople. It can help all your data. You can track all your stuff to it. Plus, you can use it as content distribution to be able to send out case studies, articles, videos, things like that to your strategic audience. CRM should be the lifeblood of your business. And a lot of times people will build out their pipeline, they got opportunities, and they just sit and wait. And I've had so many conversations with people individually, companies where the salespeople are waiting around for things to happen, and they're waiting around for deals to get done, and that just doesn't work. Anything can happen. I've been in situations back in '08 when the market crashed and automotive took a dump, and I was in sales at a plastics company, and we lost 35% of our business overnight, and I was tasked to go and replace it. And that was difficult back in '08. And so you never know what's going to happen. So you always have to keep feeding the top of this funnel and feeding this beast and building out your pipeline. Never assume that any deal is done until it's inked. What is up, guys? Kyle Milan here. It is Wednesday, December 8th. And if you're in technical sales and you're struggling with how to break down your weekly responsibilities and focus, then on this episode, I show you some tips on how to break it down and how to dominate in your industry. So before we get started into the show, quick housekeeping like we normally do. Guys, if you can, do me a favor, share the show with whoever it is that you feel would benefit from this information. Today, we're talking about technical sales. All things in technical sales. Does not matter if you're in a service industry, if you're doing products, if you're doing software. It's all under the umbrella of technical sales engineer. So leave your comments. We will get to the comments. Please comment in. Tell me where you're coming in from, what platform you're watching on, and we will go through those. But it's all about value exchange. We're putting the time to bring this content to you. If you guys can do me a favor and like it, share it, send it to people that you know, I greatly appreciate it. So let's look at your weekly routine. Now, I'm going to make some assumptions here and assume that if you're in technical sales, this type of weekly routine would be slightly adjusted. If you just started at a new company, your focus would be slightly different. But if you're already with a company, you already have progress, you already have things in the pipeline, then this is really the weekly routine that you should be focusing on and following. Because I know that I've been in that situation before where I get to Friday and I'm like, dude, what did I even do this week? Or I forgot to do these things, or I had them on my list and I just lost my focus. You know, my attention got pulled in 57 different directions, whether it was from existing customers, potential deals, prospects, things like that. And so how I want to break it down is into mainly three categories. So the first one's going to be 25% of your time should be focused on the current deals. So working your current deals. So what does that mean? That means you've done the effort of prospecting and hunting, and you've got a new opportunity that's come in. And far too often people get bogged down with all of the details behind that, and they invest all their time into it. I know some of you may be sitting there thinking like, but dude, if it's a huge deal, if it's a multi-million-dollar deal and it's significant to my business, then I should invest all of my time into it. And I would still say, no, you should not. So 25% of your time should be focused on working deals. The part that typically bogs down a technical sales engineer and anybody as a sales engineer is that you don't have the support team in place to assist you with whatever it is that deal that you're trying to work. So in a lot of cases, you've got project salespeople or sales, estimating people or things like that. You should be able to work 25% of your week, so roughly 10 hours of your week, working existing deals. And if you don't have enough deals to use it for 10 hours, then you can take that balance and put it into the other two areas. But working those deals, gathering information, making sure that you have enough of the information from the potential customer in order for you to provide an accurate quote or an accurate proposal, and then working with your internal team, if they're the ones that are going to be doing the actual estimating, creating the quote, creating the proposal, working with them to make sure that everything that you want it to show in that proposal is being shown and that all the information is accurate. But it's an area that people focus on, like they get an opportunity and they just want to work that deal through. And before you know it, it's been 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or a week, and that's all you've been focusing on. And meanwhile, the rest of the market, the rest of the opportunities, the rest of the people out there you're trying to sell to, they keep moving, right? Like the world doesn't stop once you get an opportunity. So just because you're working on one single deal doesn't mean that you're not missing 15 other deals. So you really have to break this down: 25% of your time working on deals. The next area is going to be 25% of your time needs to be focused on the follow-up. And the follow-up is what sets the difference between those that succeed drastically and those that don't. There's tons of statistics and data out there that shows that people are not following up enough. Whether it's 80% of salespeople, 60% of salespeople, it depends on where you get the source from. But deals happen in multiple contact follow-ups. It's not just one time you speak to somebody. The follow-up is one of the most important aspects to closing a deal. So after you've quoted it and you've sent it, now it's time to follow up. Now's the time where you got to roll up the sleeves and actually do the work to get the attention back, especially when you're competing with other people. Now, the areas that you should be following up, it should not be just one singular area. You have to look at the main areas of follow-up, which is going to be email, phone, social media, personal visit, possibly snail mail, sending a postcard, sending a letter, something like that if you're not getting a response. So let's break those down. Email marketing as a whole and just going after people cold is less effective than it was 10 years ago. But if you've already talked to somebody, if you've already engaged with them, they asked you to send a quote, you sent the quote, following up on that quote or that proposal is perfectly, natural to do through email. And a lot of salespeople get so busy that they just want to send out emails and they just want to do it the fastest way possible and not actually put in the effort. But the way that I always say it is, if you send an email, then you should also pick up the phone and call them, and vice versa. So if the phone call is your second way of following up with them, if you call them and leave a voicemail, then right after you're done leaving the voicemail, you go to your email, you send them an email and you say, hey, just want to let you know I left you a voicemail on your desk phone or on your cell phone, whatever it is. Just following up through here if this is a faster way to get a hold of you on that proposal. But you have to follow up in multiple methods. A lot of people are just focusing on one. The next area is going to be getting into cold visit, personal visits, things like that. You may think that it seems a little bit weird, or maybe you can't physically see them because they're international or they're in a different state and you're not going to travel all the way there just to do a cold visit. I completely understand that. You have to use these tactics, obviously, that work with your specific situation. But being able to physically stop by is a great way to get some FaceTime with them and get a response if they're not responding to the other methods. But then LinkedIn is typically the fastest way to get a hold of somebody because, again, like in all of our other episodes, we talk about the noise in the market and the noise to try and grab somebody's attention. So if you know for a fact that they're getting lots of emails, lots of phone calls, they're busy, they're in the office, out of the office, they're traveling, they've got internal meetings, all that stuff going on, and you send them an email and it gets lost in the shuffle, or you leave them a voicemail and they never check their voicemail because 80% of the time you're going to leave a voicemail. And that's just me throwing a number at the board. That's from actual data that we've gotten over the last few years of when we used to do cold calls for people. So that is all going to get lost. And then LinkedIn, a lot of times the people that you're going after aren't getting bombarded as much on LinkedIn. They're not active as much on LinkedIn, but they're also not getting bombarded. So there's less noise there, so you can get their attention by sending them a message. And so with the social media aspect, when you first talk to somebody, it's hard for you to follow up with somebody if you've never even connected with them, right? So when you're first talking with somebody, you've got this opportunity. One of the steps you should do is send a connection request on LinkedIn. Let them know, hey, I just sent you a connection request on LinkedIn. So that way you can use that to your advantage in the follow-up method. So then the last one's going to be from a snail mail standpoint. You can send them things that are just reminding them about you in the mail. If you're not getting a response from them, it's been a few weeks, things like that. Having a postcard ready to be able to just say, hey, here's some good value information, or hey, don't forget about us type of thing. That still is valuable. You have to figure out what is the fastest way or the easiest way to get a hold of somebody. But the follow-up is what sets the difference between those that are good and those that are great. And you have to invest 25% of your week. So 10 hours a week again is spent on following up. Now, it doesn't have to literally be 10 hours you're following up with people. It could be strategizing about follow-up. It could be setting up things to follow up in the future. It could be going through your list of potential opportunities, organizing your data, but 25% of your week should be focused on follow-up. The last aspect is going to be 50% of your week should be 50% of your week should be focused on hunting for new business. And for those of you that follow my content closely, that probably doesn't surprise you, but I'm a big advocate of always hunting, never stopping, because the pipeline eventually will dry up if you stop. So if you focus too much time on opportunities, or if you focus too much time on following up and you're not focused on hunting and bringing new opportunities into the pipeline, then before you know it, a week later, 2 weeks later, you come up for air because you've been so busy. And now you've got no new deals in the pipeline. So 50% of your week should be focused on hunting for new business. So that's 20 hours of your week. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you should be looking at your competitors to see who their customers are. You should be looking at your current customers to see who their competitors are. You need to be looking at your entire database, doing some Google searches, using places like ZoomInfo, and most importantly, and especially for you guys in technical sales, using LinkedIn to build out lists and build out potential connection requests and campaigns is going to be the best spot for you to focus most of your attention. And so in the hunting phase, you need to understand it's not just literally, calling people, literally emailing people, literally messaging people. Anything that you're doing on a weekly basis, if 20 hours of your week is focused on the strategy and the execution of that strategy and engaging with people on LinkedIn and searching and building out new networks and connections, it's so easy and simple to be able to, spend the $79 a month for LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It will pay you back 1,000,000 times if you actually use it. And spend a few hours a week of building out new search criteria and new filters, because when in Sales Navigator, you're not just searching for everybody in a specific target market, because that's a shotgun approach, right? You want to be a little bit more specific than that. So breaking it into industry size, industry, geographic area, job functions. Are they in sales, operations, purchasing, whatever it is, engineering? Breaking it down to micro campaigns and micro groups, and then going after those people that with relevant information, instead of just saying like, hey, Joe, I sell this type of service, or I do this type of machining, or I do this type of integration. Let me know if you ever have a need for it. That's somewhat general, but if you can specifically say, hey, you're in the medical device industry, we work with a lot of the top 5 medical device people by providing solutions to them with our machining services, with our software integration services, things like that. If you're open to having a quick discussion, let me know. Those types of messages will be received much better. Now, that's after you've already hopefully connected with them and sent them some valuable piece of content. And that's where the content marketing aspect and creating content, things like that, comes into play, because you don't want to just follow up with people and build new networks with people by saying like, hey, I want to connect with you. Will you buy from me? Right. So when you're hunting for new business, you need to have some sort of collateral at your disposal that you can use for the hunting side, but then you can also use on the follow-up side. So the hunting is not just literally for 20 hours a week doing the same thing over and over again. You need to be focusing your attention on engagement on LinkedIn too. Once you've connected with people, you've built out a network, now you have to engage with them. You cannot be the person that when somebody connects with you and they look at your activity, if you have no activity on your profile, they're going to be like, this person probably just used me to collect my name and email address, and they're going to try and sell me something. But if you show engagement on your activity, if they look at your profile, it's been optimized. For anybody that needs to know how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, go to my YouTube channel. You can see all the videos that we've done on LinkedIn profile optimization before you start connection requests. It's all there to show you. But they're going to look at your profile, say, hey, this is relevant. They offer this type of service. They do this type of thing. It's relevant to my industry because we use things like that. They connect with you. But if they look deeper in your profile and see you're not even active, you're not even posting anything, sharing anything, or all you're doing is posting and sharing things about yourself, but not actually engaging with people, it's going to hurt you from an opportunity standpoint. But you have to focus, I would say, at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day, every single day, engaging with your network, whether it's liking somebody's post, commenting on somebody's post, going into groups, building out your groups, engaging with people, sending people messages saying, hey, I really liked your post. You have to put in the work. This is not an automation thing. You can't just sit back and run an algorithm, run an automation tool, and then just expect everything to come back. This has to be as much work that you're putting into it to get the results that you want out. You have to engage with your network because nobody likes somebody that's just going to sell to them without providing any sort of value. So 50% of your week focusing on hunting, broken down into those main areas. And I promise you, if you follow this method and if you follow this schedule, you will see drastic results. And it's all about bringing new opportunities into your pipeline, which is why that's the heaviest focus. But then once you get those opportunities, not forgetting that you have to work them through the deal, but not getting lost in that focus of working them through the deal. And the other thing with hunting is that you don't want to just look at specific micro groups of people and only be super hyper focused. Like if your niche and your target is 100 companies, 150 companies, you're going to run through those 150 companies pretty quick. And then you're going to be sitting there like, well, Kyle told me 50% of my time is on hunting. So I'm going to engage with people. I've already gone through these people. I've built out my list. I've already tried to engage with them, tried to get their interest. Now I'm engaging with them on LinkedIn and my week's over at the end of, 10 hours of that. That's not the way to do it. You have to also build out your target demographic into larger sections. Now they can be micro sections, but they still need to be big enough to actually provide you with enough data and enough opportunities to make your week actually full. You don't want to just stop once you reach whatever the limit is. So continuously looking into that, building out the profiles, building out the campaigns, building out the target demographic, and focusing on those niches and be able to group people down. And then the flip side of it is in the hunting category, you're going to want to focus on creating things, right? If you don't have a marketing team or an agency like MFG Tribe that's producing all the content for you that you can just click and share, copy and paste, you have to produce your own content. Content is the way of selling. Look at all of my videos that I've got out there. It's all about content first, creating something, whether it's something written or something video, creating something to entice people to engage with you. Or once you do engage with them and you do connect with them, then sending them something, whether it's through email or through LinkedIn, being able to send them something that's of value to be able to get them to kind of lower their shield and be like, okay, this dude's not going to try and sell to me on the first message, try and marry me on the first date. They're like, all right, this guy's going to provide some value first. He's sending me over some stuff. It's relevant. It's helpful. I can share it with somebody I know will get some good information out of this. And that's where you want to focus on doing that. I mean, if you get through your week, you've already done your follow-up, you've already done your working your opportunities, and you get into the hunting aspect, and how you break it down doesn't matter if it's 4 hours a day, every day, or you save it for Wednesday through Friday, whatever. And you're getting into the hunting aspect and you're like, I've hunted, I've sent out connection requests, I've got these campaigns running, everything's going good. Then focus on content, because you need to focus on the tools and the skills that are going to help you with your hunting and help you with taking people from the top of the funnel, I'm just a person at a company, to working them through your value proposition and getting them to actually pick up the phone when you call them or respond to your engagement. I mean, so if you're done with all that and you've gone through it, then focus on creating content. I have a lot of videos on YouTube about the content out there, what to create, how to create it, what should you do. Be sure to check those out. It's really what is separating, everybody from like the top 5% of people are focused on creating the content. Everybody else is just reusing the same old stuff or just going directly after that, after that hard sell and the direct sales aspect. And it's just not as beneficial as it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. It just doesn't work. It's all about providing value first. So definitely make sure that content section is in there. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll answer all questions, comments. Love to engage with you guys. So please leave the comments in the below section, and we'll see you back after this short break. All right, we are back. So we've got a couple comments coming through. LOL is back from YouTube. Love that, LOL. Zubar from India. What's up, brother? Nathan, developing some technology in subsurface environments as well as bioplastic infrastructure. That's awesome. Awesome to hear. Nathan, again, I really enjoyed your video on select plastics. I met with Matt the other day in Everett. Yeah, so Matt Poischberg from Select Plastics is a custom injection molder that is up in, I think, Everett, right? Everett, Washington. And Matt and I met, I think, about almost a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, on season 1 of MFG Tribe TV, which, for those of you that don't know what MFG Tribe TV is, it was my take on essentially Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, where me coming into a company, not, I know a lot about most manufacturing processes, right? But there's such a gap in the youth getting into industrial and manufacturing processes. So I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to create a show where I walk in. I'm not going to physically do the job like Mike Rowe does in Dirty Jobs, but I'm going to walk through, ask them questions that like a kid would ask them, anybody from the age of 10 to 20, and just be like, how is that made? And it ends up being like a 30 to sometimes 40-minute show where the owner or the charge of sales or marketing walks me through their facility. We talk about different capabilities, how stuff is made. You physically get to see, like, this part came from this machine, or these are the types of things that we make, and how does that work? And it ends up being an awesome show. We did 1 season, 6 episodes. Selects Plastics was probably my favorite, just because he does custom injection molding, and I spent 10 years in it. Matt's a great guy, and they actually have a nice apprenticeship program for, I believe it's tool making there. And so we use a lot of the content from that show in part of our trailers and show reels, because it was just so good. But the MFG Tribe TV was something that we started, and then COVID happened and we had to put it on the back burner because we couldn't travel any place. But we are going to be coming out with season 2. We're going through the process right now of speaking with companies to see who's open to that, to have us come in and tour them. And then what we do is interview some of the younger people at the company and get their take on, why did you start working in industrial? Why are you in manufacturing? What were you going to do? And the answers would surprise you a lot. There's people that have said, like, I was going to be a cop. I think on one of the episodes, I was going to be a cop, and then I started working at this company. Now I've been here for 8 years and I love it. That's definitely the cool part of it, to try and excite the youth and get younger people into it, show them how cool manufacturing is. Can you kindly tell the best B2B websites? B2B websites, I mean, I can't tell you what the best ones are, but I could tell you that the best way to make a B2B website is going to be make it simple and easy for people to navigate. We make probably between maybe 5 to 10 websites a year, roughly. for industrial companies. And the best way to do it is make it easy for people to navigate to where they can get to where they want to go quickly, by still having enough information to boost SEO. You got to have enough words on the page. That's something that we deal with a lot when we redo industrial companies' websites, is like, dude, you've got 157 words on all of your pages. You need to have a minimum of 500. So because we have the team here of technical writers, we've got 2 degreed engineers on staff that do the writing. We're able to write extremely technical content while focused on SEO for all those pages to make sure to boost the algorithm for SEO and positions. That's really the most important. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It has to load quickly. It has to be easy to navigate, going from menu structures, call to actions, all that stuff. And there has to be enough words on the page. Where would relationship maintenance, not specifically seeking new business, with existing clients fall in your 3 categories? Yeah, so I would still consider that in the hunting aspect. I would say that if you're trying to cultivate a relationship and continue to build that out, that's still considered hunting until a deal and an opportunity has come through. Then they're not in the working deal stage or the follow up stage. But that should be considered. Like, if you're just building a relationship with somebody and continuing to engage with them, whether it's answering questions for them or providing them with useful information, cultivating those relationships is still in the hunting phase of it. Their capabilities are expanding. I'm working to expand their markets as well as what I'm doing with my startup. Very cool. Yeah, they're a great company to get involved with. Select Plastics, with Matt at the helm there. Great company, great technology. The stuff that they make, that was the first time I've ever seen a plastic ukulele. Never seen one of those before. So you could check it out. If you go to my YouTube channel and go to MFG Tribe TV playlist, I think they were episode 5, I believe, but it's about 35 minutes of me walking through with Matt on everything that they do. Anybody in plastics that's or anybody who likes to watch how cool stuff is made, check out that playlist. There's a lot of good stuff there. Steven, what would you say the best CRM to use? I would say the best CRM for you to use would be HubSpot. And I'm not saying that because we are a partner with them. I'm saying that because I've used almost every single type of CRM out there. Infusionsoft, Zoho, Salesforce, like everything under the sun. Our clients have used every single type of CRM system out there. I mean, literally, we've touched almost every single one, at least the top 15 most popular ones. But what it comes down to at the end of the day is, what are your people actually going to use? You can have the best CRM system, but if they don't use it, it doesn't matter. So I was on a call with a client earlier today, monthly review call, and they're using an email marketing system. And I said, all the data that you're collecting with your sales efforts, we should really put it in a CRM system like HubSpot. And they were like, how much can we get into it for? I mean, HubSpot's cheap. You can get into it for $50 a month if you have 1,000 contacts. And it does everything you need it to do for $50 a month. You don't have to go to the marketing professional at $800 or $850 a month unless you want complex email marketing sequences. But just to get started, $50 a month, and you can build it up from there. I think personally, HubSpot is the best. I think too often industrial companies are using Salesforce. And like I've said in other episodes, Salesforce is more of an enterprise solution. It's not something that's great for like 5 people at a company, 5 salespeople. It's overkill. So I think that the HubSpot would take my pick. And like I said, it used to be Infusionsoft. 5 years ago, if you told me what's the best one, I would say Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft changed names. They got bought out. I forget who they're called now, but HubSpot's the easiest to use, easiest to integrate, and it can grow with you as you grow. And you can spend as much money as you want and have as many people in there as you want. And you can fully integrate it with everything that you do, third-party softwares and all that stuff. That would get my vote for the best. Hoping to have my website sometime soon in the first quarter. Are all okay? My network of resources continues to grow at Whirlwind. Yeah, that's great. Starting a company from scratch, man. Especially a product is very difficult. So my hat's off to you for going down that path. That's not something that everybody can say they did. It's like whenever people have ideas, it's like, oh, I had that idea years ago, and then somebody else took it or whatever. Somebody else did it. Ideas are worth nothing, right? It's the people that actually take action and make the product. That's where the magic happens. That's when you can actually be proud that you had an idea, you took action, you found a partner like Select Plastics, and they're going to make it for you. And then hopefully, If this thing takes off, they win by producing high volume for you. You win because your product's taken off. You get revenue, you get brand, you then develop into other products. I mean, that's just the best situation. Does HubSpot allow for tremendous data sharing? It depends on what type of data sharing you mean. So HubSpot integrates with most systems and softwares. It depends on, more specifically what type of data sharing you mean, but it's not, let's say, like the best for integrating into LinkedIn. The best for that is Microsoft Dynamics. Go figure. Microsoft now owns LinkedIn, bought them a few years ago. Their CRM integrates the best with LinkedIn natively, but Microsoft Dynamics, in my opinion, sucks. It's the most cumbersome and non-robust way to build out a CRM system. It still looks like Microsoft DOS type of days, or like, the systems that used to be the black screen with the green text. Like anybody that remembers that type of stuff, that's what Microsoft Dynamics feels to me. But HubSpot integrates with everybody, whether you're using Zapier to do triggers, to pull from one source into HubSpot. But a lot of the main sources of data directly integrate with no need for a Zapier trigger to trigger it to pull in that information. It just natively, they integrate it. You got to think of anybody making software out there to do anything: data collection, data scaling, analytics, stuff like that, software for sales processes, sales proposals, things like that. They're going to say, all right, I want to create integrations with people. Who are the top people in these different areas? Salesforce is going to be up there. HubSpot's going to be up there. All the rest of the guys, like if you're using Constant Contact, MailChimp, Zoho, things like that, a lot of times they don't get integrated quickly, and then it's just more difficult for you. Scientific data points, graphic representation of surveys, schematics. So it depends. So if you're talking about schematics of tech development, I mean, from a file system standpoint, you can upload all different types of files into HubSpot and then make those shareable with a link to people. But if you've got a boatload of information, then I would say use Google Drive personally. We switched over to Google Drive over Dropbox about a year and a half ago. If you've got content where you want to put it up on somewhere, it's a PDF or it's a schematic or something like that, and you want to track which people click that and visit it, then yes, you could do that through HubSpot. But if you're talking about like 2 terabytes of data that you want to throw up there and then make all that clickable, you'll probably have to buy some extra data storage from them or increase your CRM system license to account for that. But my suggestion would be that's not really a CRM thing. If you're looking at data points for your website analytics, form engagement, stuff like that, definitely HubSpot is the best for it. But if you're trying to compile other information in regards to people using your product and data like that, then that definitely would not be the system for it. Yeah, Google Drive definitely would work. The doctor is back. Thanks, doctor. I appreciate you, man. Dr. Abur, coming from the UK. Doctor has a PhD in engineering, for those of you that don't know. Comes to every show, and we appreciate and love him just as much. So if there's any other questions, comments you guys have, throw them in before we wrap this up. We always end up having 1 or 2 last comments that come in as we're closing the show, and then we don't get to them. So just that's why I want to keep on telling you guys, send your comments in early. We don't want this show to go on for 60 minutes because I probably wouldn't run out of things to say. I could talk for probably multiple hours, but you guys would get bored if I talked for 60 minutes. LOL. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for not boring you, right? I appreciate your comments, LOL. We need to change your name, man. Unless those are your initials. If those are your initials, LOL, then that's pretty cool. But let's see. Let's show that one. I appreciate all my engineers. As a commercial driver, I fix a lot of. Yeah, you got to show appreciation to your team, man. I show appreciation to you guys. I mean, there's no question I won't answer unless it's a really dumb question. Then we won't put it up there and we won't answer it. But this stuff takes a lot of time, and we want to show our appreciation and gratitude for you guys watching by answering any questions that you have, helping you out. Even if you leave a comment, say, hey, I'd love to know a comparison video of this versus that, HubSpot versus whatever, or I'm really looking for what's the best solution for this, or can you make a 10-minute video explaining that I can share internally to my team of salespeople on how they should do step by step, whatever it is. those suggestions, comments, we always take them into consideration. A lot of times that can be the topic of the show for the week. I was actually educating some students yesterday at Drivers Institute of Technology. Very cool. I've only, Seattle, I've only been to Washington State, I think twice, and one of them was to meet Matt for MFG Tribe TV. And if you guys are out there watching this on replay, watching it live, doesn't matter. If you guys are interested in being on MFG Tribe TV, definitely let me know. Send me a message on LinkedIn. Leave them in the comments section. We always look at them. That show, I know that our team internally is excited to get that going because it is a fun, interactive type of show that educates people. But yeah, I don't get up to Washington State very often. And it doesn't hurt me that I don't go up there personally. Yeah, I will hit you up, Nathan. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of your state though, man. Like let's make that clear. I live in Texas, so there's a big difference there. But yeah, if I do come up there, I definitely want to come up there and see Matt sometime. Maybe get on a follow up. Hey, it's been 2 years since you were on MFG Tribe TV. What's going on now? And he's like, dude, I just built a 68,000 square foot facility right next door and we're kicking butt and making all these things. Like, I just talked to Matt a couple weeks ago. We're going to do some light video stuff for him. Yeah, love that. Neither and I. Yeah, dude, you need to move then. That's what I'm saying. You need to move. Oh yeah, and you came from Louisiana. We're in the same boat, Nathan. We're already best friends. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that lives in Washington State, I mean no offense to it, but I'm not a huge fan, just like California personally. Do you have any advice for an LMS startup with a team of 2, 1 tech rep and 1 business rep? LMS. What is an LMS, Henry? What acronym are you using? Liquid molded silicone? Shoot that over and I will give you the advice. I will answer that question. There is a delay on LinkedIn. It's like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. LMS startup. I'm going to have to Google search that now to see if I can get the answer before you give it to me. Probably a million acronyms for LMS. Learning management system, maybe. Hopefully it's industrial. Hopefully it's like molded silicone. Shoot it over, Henry. Oh, learning management system. Okay, so a learning management system. By learning management system, do you mean something like people do online courses like a Kajabi or a Thinkific or things like that? Is that type of learning management system that you're talking about where people want to do their online courses with your system and then you're hosting it, the online course, and you're helping them build it out? I'm hoping that's what you mean. While we wait for your response, Henry will answer. One last question. If you're going to work with bioplastics and wanted to collaborate with some industry, who would you look into? Bioplastics. It depends on who you're selling to. Bioplastics is so general. So yeah, I'd have to know the specific application to know what it is to give you the best advice. But I would say anybody that is relevant. I mean, pharmaceutical, maybe. Bioplastic, you're talking, you could possibly get into pharmaceuticals with it and collaborate with some people over there. I mean, that'd be the best advice I could give you with the limited knowledge. But just look for other industries that are relevant or that are offshoots of it. That should be your best bet. Food packaging. Yeah. I mean, if you're in the packaging industry, then definitely go after plastics containers. Anybody that's packaging anything. You can look at robotic integrators that work with packaging, where they're doing automation for packaging, things like that. Henry, we're still waiting on your answer of the LMS. And if not, then I'll just make some assumptions because we are coming to almost a close. So I'm going to answer Henry's question. So if you're doing an LMS and it's something like hosting a platform for people that have online sales, things like that, my best advice, a team of 2, 1 tech rep and 1 business rep. So we've got a LMS. You're welcome, Nathan. Be sure to subscribe and definitely come back to all of our shows. Mondays, Wednesdays would probably be the best for you, possibly Fridays. But Technical Sales University, the online technical sales university that I own that has 8+ hours of content, is on a learning management system. That platform is on Kajabi. Why did we go with Kajabi? Well, we used to be with Thinkific. Thinkific is a great learning management system. But Kajabi is better because it is all in one. So the main difference is if you're building out a system, a platform, I would say do as many things as possible, have everything into one system. We were on one system. We changed because it lacked the integration of email marketing and follow-up emails and giving people trials. And then once they have a trial, how do you follow up with them, offering them codes and stuff like that? With the first platform, we had to use our email marketing system to do all of that. Whereas with Kajabi, we're able to build all that into one system, track everything in one system, and it's much easier. So if that is the type of learning management system that you're trying to work on, Henry, then I would focus on making sure your system has everything that it needs. And then as far as, what you guys should be doing on a daily basis, with one tech rep and one business rep, I would be focused on getting users, giving people free trials, getting people into the system. Like any type of startup, any type of service, software, whatever it is, you need to give it away for free. Even if you're starting something on the side hustle, give it away for free. Get people into the system, get people to use your service, make sure that it works. Once it works, ask them for a testimonial, use that testimonial to then try and get people to pay you for that type of thing. It's a super simple process. But right now, if you're getting no money for it, then it essentially is free. Even if you're working and trying to charge people $1,000, you're making nothing. So it's better to get a referral, get a testimonial than it is to try and charge people for something that you're not an expert in yet, or you don't have the user base or the system out there to be able to say, this stuff works. Here's how it works. It's polished, proven. Pay me $50 a month, $1,000 for this, whatever it is. Before you can charge people, you have to make sure that you have some testimonial saying this stuff works. So hopefully that helps, Henry. That's it for the questions. Hope you have some holiday brisket. Yeah. Honestly, I'm from Chicago and we're not big into brisket from there. I'm sure you were from Louisiana, but I know it's a big thing down here in Texas. My wife enjoys it, but I'm not a huge fan of brisket. But if I do eat some, man, I'll let you know. So that's it for this episode, guys. If you got value out of this, definitely share it with people. Spread the word. Send in your comments. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Follow us on all social platforms, and we will see you on the next one.